Hi, folks. Michael Camp here. I'm an author and faith transition coach. I help people deconstruct from conservative Christianity and rebuild a healthy faith or non religious worldview. I tend the Spiritual Brewpub at spiritualbrewpub.com, where you can find my podcast and content on historical, biblical, philosophical, and experiential evidence for a reasoned spirituality. So the question is, why did I leave evangelicalism for universal love? That's a long story that I think you'll hear if you read my content and listen to my podcast. But the short version is this. Number one, evangelical theology, with some rare exceptions, is toxic, particularly doctrines like the original depravity, the inerrancy of the Bible, substitutionary atonement, hell, church authority, purity culture, and their position on the LGBTQ community. Number two, evangelical theology, with some rare exceptions again, is not based on a good study of history. It ignores or downplays the history of universalism in the early church, how the Bible was compiled, the characteristics of the original Jesus movement, the Eastern streams of Christianity, many of the Bible's mistranslations and misinterpretations, and many of the voices of the church fathers. Number three, this bad theology leads evangelical leaders to spiritually abuse people and can lead to religious trauma. Harmful doctrines, authoritarian leadership, and legalistic practices, when imposed on people, can cause emotional damage and, in some cases, even complex PTSD. Number four, universal love or universalism has extraordinary historical, biblical, and philosophical evidence. This is the belief that God ultimately restores everyone and doesn't consign most of the human race to hell, and that God loves and extends grace to all humanity equally, no matter what their religion or non-religion. The evidence shows that God still holds people accountable, but not through punitive and retributive, and certainly not eternal measures. So that's the answer why I left evangelicalism. Stay tuned for more content.